If you need to create a list of items within your document here, one that's prioritized or ordered numerically, like 1 being the most important, number 2, 3, 4, like a grocery list, or better yet, let's do a camping list. Type in the title, hit enter, and instead of typing in 1 and then my item, then hitting enter, number 2, don't type it in, go ahead and use the numbering feature within Microsoft Word by coming up here on the Home tab to the paragraph group, and there it is. Click on the numbering and it does two things. It adds the first number, number 1, and then it indents it. So we can type in the most important thing, number 1, when it comes to camping that we want to bring, which is, alright, number 2. Next most important is some shelter. And you'll notice that any time that I type in an item and I hit enter, it goes to the next number sequentially here. So if I get to a point where I'm like, I don't need anything more than just the first 3, and I've got the extra number there, you can get rid of it one of a few ways. You can either hit the backspace key, but if you do that, it just gets rid of the number. It doesn't take your left indent and move it all the way to the left-hand side. You can see that my cursor is still flashing, lined up with all these other items within the list. So you'll need to hit the backspace key a couple of times till it gets all the way back to the left margin, or hit undo a couple of times. You can click on that bottom little teeny tiny left indent rectangle there and click and drag it over. That works, or hit undo a couple of times. Better yet, with the cursor flashing on the numbered item that I want to get rid of, come up here and just deselect the numbering feature. Not only does it get rid of the number, but you don't have to deal with the left indent. It just automatically pulls it over to the left-hand side. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And let's say that we want to add another list, an additional list. And this could be on the next page, or it just happens to be right below it. And let's say for this additional list, let me come back up here and click on the numbering feature, is other things that we want to bring when we're camping. Not as important as the original one here, but just additional items. If we can bring them, great. Actually, a pillow would be mandatory. In any case, hit enter. And now, after I get to a point where I'm like, you know what, this list is actually a continuation of the list above, and if I go ahead and continue the numbering, like this would be 4, 5, and 6, it wouldn't break up the order here, being 1 the most important, and then 3, and then number 4 is not greater than 3, so why don't we just go ahead and continue the numbering from the previous list? You can do that by, clicking up here in the first number here and just right-clicking and say that you want to continue from an earlier list. Well, you can imagine that if you had hundreds of lists within your document, that this one just doesn't go out and choose any list. It chooses the one that's right above it. If it's right above it, as you see here, or if it's above it on an earlier page, it goes and looks at that page, the next adjacent list, which happens to be this one. So right-click, want to continue from the one up above, so it continues on to 3, 4, 5, 6. By the same token, if you don't want to continue it, just right-click and say you want to restart at 1. Now, once you have them numbered, you don't have to stay with it numbered. You can go ahead and just, with your cursor flashing in the list here, come up here in the paragraph group and click on its adjacent drop-down arrow. And you can see you can customize the numbers, make them different colors, underline them, or use these other default formats here, uppercase, lowercase, Roman numerals. And if you want to go ahead and customize your own, come down here where it says Define New Number Format, click on it, and you can change the number style or leave it as is. Click on the font, and that's where you can get your color, something, fancy pastel color. Maybe you want to underline it, double underline, give it color for the double underline, maybe something blue there. You can see it down the preview window. Make it bold, and then click Okie dokie, click Okie dokie again, and that's horrifying. Let's go ahead and undo that. Okay, but you get the idea. And then finally, let me go ahead and click on the number 2 item here. You can right-click and also go to the numbering here. It's just like going up there and clicking on its corresponding drop-down arrow in the paragraph group, and come down here and you can set the numbering value. Click on that. So instead of going from 1 to 2, you can say go from 1 to 3, and then it picks up 3, 4. So people will go, hey, what happened to number 2? Well, whatever your purpose is, you can go ahead and do it here and skip a few numbers and continue on. I'm going to go ahead and hit undo. Now, aside from the numbering feature, you have what's called the bullet or the bulleted list. So if I go ahead and click in this list up here and I click on the bullets, it converts it from a numerical list 1, 2, 3 to a bullet. Bullet means basically that nothing's really of a high priority. They're all important, so be sure to bring all of them, okay? And then in addition to the bullets, you have other options. You can click on its corresponding drop-down arrow and choose from other characters here, or go ahead and define a new bullet by either, again, changing the font, the color. If you want to go ahead and choose different colors, underline it, that's fine. You can choose symbols, maybe a trademark symbol for your bullets, TM, TM, TM. I'm going to click cancel, or find a picture, You can go ahead and import a picture if you've got one out there on your computer, or select from one of these here. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down, and oh, that one's okay. Click Okie dokie, and oh, that's not too bad. You can also right click and go down to bullets and get the same options as you do up above. Let me go ahead and click undo. And then finally, so we've covered the numbering feature, the bulleted feature, you have the multi-level list feature. Then when you click on the drop down arrow, you can go ahead and choose and create a multi-level list. What that means is when you click on it, in that sample you saw that it starts off with the numbers here, but if you go to another number and hit the tab key, you see the hierarchical structure beginning to take place in this multi-level list. So you have the first priority, number 1, and then still a part of the paper is a tent because you want your privacy if you can. You don't want to just, in any case, I digress. Or better yet, to make more sense of this, not any kind of paper, but so there, that supports it.